Good Packer Nation afternoon to you because it's Saturday afternoon, day after the Packers' big matchup with the Cleveland Browns. Packers win 17-11, and we are going to talk about the preseason matchup today because football is back at Lambeau in Green Bay, and I am totally stoked, and there's a lot to talk about right now. But first, I want to do Packer Nation roll call. Who is out there on this Saturday afternoon? If you are joining us, let me know who you are and where you're from. I'm going to do a short bit of Packer Nation roll call. Brad is here. Hector is back. Good morning, man. Good to see you again. And then we're going to get on to some preseason action. So Gustavo is here. Go Pack Go from Omaha, Nebraska. Ricky is here. Adam Rogers. Hey, bro. What's up, man? Good to see you. Chris is here. Brian is here. King Dre from Wisconsin. Very good to see you, man. Chris, Go Pack Go. Joshua from Roswell, New Mexico. Very interesting. Haven't seen you before, Joshua. Join us all the time. Chris, Northern California, of course. Josh Simon from Greenville, South Carolina, just down the road from me. Angel is here again. Teresa, Kevin, Ricky, Shauna, David, or Shayna. Justin Sims from Knoxville. Justin, I am up in Johnson City, Tennessee. So, Packers got the preseason underway finally last night after the cancellation of the Hall of Fame game, and there is a ton to talk about. We want to talk about offense, defense, special teams, okay? So for my money, when looking at the offense, the one thing that's jumped out of the page at me is that Eddie Lacy looks like he's going to be fine. What you saw was the Packers going out there, not willing to risk really anybody in the initial series or two, and running up the gut. And Eddie Lacy had an 11-yard carry in that, and that's the kind of carry where everybody knows exactly what you're going to do, and it's good to see that Eddie Lacy, his feet look quicker to me. The spin move is still there, and it does still look like he's carrying a load, and he was able to keep his balance and gain 11 yards on a play where he was kind of caught dead to rights, to be honest. That's good news, because if this run game gets going for the Packers, guess what the pass game can do? It's going to be sensational. So, all right, Justin is here. Adam looked like Lacy looked like a stud, and our linebackers looked outstanding. Yeah, I think good things are going to happen. Paul says he's at work. Well, Paul, we are going to try to make it easier for you to be at work right now, talking about the Packers. So the offense looked good, and one thing, and definitely something we really need to talk about is Joe Callahan, third/fourth string quarterback leading this offense. And let me tell you something, the tight ends on the Green Bay Packers offense, not only did we bring in Jared Cook, but keep in mind, guys, we brought in a new tight ends coach. And give me a thumbs up out there if you noticed that tight end play for the Packers offense is going to be a big deal this year for anybody that comes in and tries to stop Aaron Rodgers in this offense. The tight ends from top to bottom. Perillo, of course, Cook, Jared Cook went out and made his plays. Perillo made more plays than anybody. Freaking fantastic. And we know Richard Rodgers lost weight. The Packers tight end group is looking good. And don't forget, part of that is because we have brought in a new tight ends coach. The focus is there. Just like the focus last year was on special teams for improvement, the focus this year, to my mind, is on the tight ends for improvement. And holy crap, does that not bode well for the Packers offense? I mean, disagree with me if you want. I don't see anybody out there, because the fact of the matter is when our tight ends get going, and looking at the bevy of tight ends we have, these are the guys that flew under the radar for most of training camp, partly because Jared Cook, I mean, we were all excited about him, but he couldn't make the field. He was tweaked, had to sit out for a while, then he gets on the field and he is impactful right away. And Justin Perillo caught every blasted thing that came his way. Our tight end group looks really good right now, and that is a fantastic note for the generally speaking for our offense, because again, we haven't put Jordy Nelson on the field yet. We haven't put Aaron Rodgers on the field yet. We haven't put Randall Cobb on the field yet. We haven't put even Brett Hundley on the field yet, folks. And this is what we're able to do. So we got to talk about Joe Callahan and the way he handled this offense. I'm going to talk about the negative first. The one thing that he looked a little bit off balance. He looked a little bit out of his element, and it looked a little bit like he wasn't quite caught up with the speed of the NFL game, was when Callahan had to roll out of the pocket. When the pocket broke down, he looked a little bit out of his element, but at the same time, he made good decisions. He just threw the ball away. Now, he's learning that from Aaron Rodgers. But let me ask you this. Did you think Callahan was going to lead a 2-minute offense that would score a touchdown with just a few seconds to go in the first half? These were the last plays of Callahan's night. And he knew it. Everybody knew it. We knew it. We were talking about it. And he drove the team down the field in the 2-minute drill and put the freaking ball in the end zone. How important is that? And, it's funny because when he got out on the field, one of the first comments I made about Callahan was, I felt like I was looking at Matt Flynn on the field. I don't even know why. Like, if you look at him close up, there's no resemblance whatsoever. But when they showed him at a little bit of a distance, I was like, man, I feel like I'm looking at Matt Flynn again. And but the fact of the matter is Matt Flynn handled our offense pretty well too, and so did Callahan. I love this guy's story, coming out of absolutely nowhere, leading the Packers to a touchdown in the 2-minute drill right before the half. I think was fantastic to see. And I do want to discuss that play in particular because, Crockett made a great play, made the catch, walked into the end zone, did his Lambo leap. But this play resulted in a touchdown because of Callahan's pre-snap read. Callahan saw a single up on the outside. If you can watch this again, I'll try and paint a picture for you. But what Callahan saw when he got ready to take the snap, he was singled up on the outside. He saw a linebacker cheating up, and he knew because Crockett was going out into the flats that it was very possible Crockett was going to be wide open. You watch Joe Callahan. He's exactly where he's going to put this ball before the ball was even snapped. And I love to see that. That's a cerebral quarterback. That's a guy with his brain, his mind about him. And that's a guy who can really go somewhere in this league. And I just love to see it. He dropped back. You saw him sort of look off, but immediately he turned and he knew exactly where he was going. He thought Crockett was going to be open. He thought right. He delivered the ball on target. Touchdown Green Bay Packers in a 17-11 victory. And by the way, we talked about predictions yesterday, and I went through and I looked, and I could not find. I thought for sure someone out there had the Packers scoring 17 in this game, and I can't remember what they had the Browns scoring, but the Packers winning 17 to something. So if you're out there and you made that prediction, I couldn't find you. Jump back on, let me know who you are, and show me your score, your prediction, because I want to give you a shout out. You're one of the few. My prediction was 21-17, pretty dang close and not bad at all. But the Packers didn't quite break the 20 barrier. But let me ask you this. Heart me if you predicted 3 safeties in this game. Was that crazy or what? 3 safeties, Packers get 2. Browns get 1. It's just that was freaking unbelievable to me. It just doesn't happen that way. And of course it's a preseason game, and that's part of the reason that happened. I had a little bit of an issue on the play call where we had our safety because, for crying out loud, why don't you play action to Starks and just get the ball out of Callahan's hands? See what you can do. It was so vanilla, but that's the way the preseason works. So I'm going to live with it. But for crying out loud, 3 safeties in this game. All right, let's talk about the special teams because that deserves to be talked about. And again, I'm going to start with the negative. Now here, if I'm Zook and I watched the film on this game, which I did today, I saw. We're going to talk about the protection against the return game. The protection saw a lot of free runners, and I did not like to see that. And that, again, in the special teams, it takes a while to develop continuity. And of course, heart me, if you noticed that Jeff Janis was not on the field. Jeff Janis has what looks like a broken hand and may not make it for the next preseason game. Who knows how long he'll be out. But if you noticed that Jeff Janis wasn't out on the field, you noticed one key thing, and that is that we needed to have a gunner that could get things done. And Jeff Janis, I think, was that guy last year. We didn't have him last night. It made a big difference. The continuity was just not there. But one thing I will say, or two things actually, I'll say that are very great about the special teams last night are, number one, give me a thumbs up for Mortel, the punter. I mean, that guy was money last night. Mortel is taking Mass Day to task, and Mass Day is going to have his work cut out for him to maintain his spot on this roster at that point after the first preseason game. Now, with those thumbs up coming across, I know you guys are all excited about Mortel. I am too. But here's what I'm actually looking for out of him. I'm looking for him to string several preseason games together where he performs in the way he did last night. Because if he can do that, he can be a major player on the Green Bay Packers team and a major player in this league. Mortel looked fantastic, okay? And while we're at it, how about changing from thumbs up to a heart for Mason Crosby with two, not one, but two 54-yard field goals in this game, looking like absolute money. I have said for years, going back, okay, in the first case, when Mason Crosby had a down year, everybody was down on him. Everybody was giving him crap. And I was one of the few people, Green Bay Packer Nation, stood behind him and said, listen, Mason Crosby is going to be fine. Heart me if you think Mason Crosby is going to be fine after two in a row 54-yard field goals in the preseason game last night with a new holder, and Mortel is a fantastic holder, by the way, just in case his punting wasn't enough to convince you that he's a player in this league. He's a fantastic holder as well. And Mason Crosby is money. And we've been saying for years, the time may come when Mason Crosby has to pull an Adam Vinatieri and win a game for the Packers to move on in the playoffs. And I am very happy that our kicker right now is Mason Crosby. I see the hearts just rolling across the screen. It was fantastic to see this guy be money the way we knew he could be. Two 54-yard field goals, and just fantastic. Those two aspects of our special teams, if we can get Jeff Janis back healthy, make me think that even though last night I was a little bit concerned about our special teams, that we can get on the same page. We can build the continuity, and if we can get Jeff Janis back, we can be a good special teams unit all around. So special teams I think will be okay, but I absolutely love the punting competition that's going on right now. And I am a big fan of Mason Crosby right now. And I see a lot of you are too. As far as defense goes, now, we were all interested to see Martinez get out there and handle the communication duties. And I thought he did a serviceable job. He didn't have any major flash plays, but he did well. And that's good to see. He got some reps under his belt. But for crying out loud, Kyler Fackrell with the sack was the guy that I have been waiting, because Kyler Fackrell is one of those really quiet dudes. He's an older guy. He's married. I think he's got kids, 25 years old, kind of brought into the league. He was kind of Johnny-come-lately to this whole thing. And everything you saw about him in the offseason, in the interviews, he's just a quiet guy. He's just a humble, quiet guy. And I kept saying to myself, I bet you that Kyler Fackrell is going to do his talking on the field. And did or did not Kyler Fackrell do his talking on the field with the big sack last night? And you could see the smile on his face, carrying out all the way till he was off the field on the sidelines. He is very happy to be a Green Bay Packer, and I think he has a nose for the quarterback, and he's got some skills. He may need to gain a little bit of weight, but he's got a lot of length. He's a tall guy, and he's learning behind Clay Matthews. So I'm really excited about him, and I've been kind of quietly excited about him from the beginning, because I think he was, round 3, Kyler Fackrell, and then Martinez in 4, and Martinez has really gotten a lot of the press because he's that inside guy, right? But at the same time, Fackrell could be a very serious acquisition for our future, and it was great to see him get out there and get a stick on the quarterback. Love to see the guy play. Other things, who jumped out at you? If you're out there and you saw a play or two that you want to mention right now, go ahead and jump on and let me know, and we'll talk about that, because there are so many aspects of this game that we could play or that we could talk about. But the special teams, I think, were one that I would like to see us do better. I'd like to see us gel up and a little more continuity on special teams. Josh is talking about Jared Cook, and Cook, I mean, he went out on the field with the third/fourth string quarterback. We don't know how that's going to shake out. It looks like Callahan has the third string duties in hand right now, but there's still a lot of preseason to play. And Cook was every bit of what we expected from training camp and from practices. And you just wait until Aaron Rodgers is throwing him the ball. Kevin is talking about Jared Abbrederis. Oh, absolutely. Jared Abbrederis has been making a case all the way through training camp and practice. He got out there last night, and he is continuing to make a case for himself to vie for that third spot over Davante Adams. Where was Davante Adams last night? How many catches did Davante Adams have last night? It's crickets when you talk about Davante Adams. Now, Jared Abbrederis, on the other hand, not only was he making the catches that were on point and accurate, but he was making catches, and he broke up an interception or a pick that Tramon Williams would have had he not gone back after the ball and broken that thing up. Abbrederis is making his case right now. He is not to be denied at this point, and I'm really excited about what he's been doing out on the field. Let's see what else you guys got. I hate that Adams needs to step up. Well, and that's the thing. I've been one of those guys that says don't count Adams out. He's got plenty of snaps. All he's got to do is go out there and perform. But again, last night it was Jared Abbrederis who was making the catches out there. We'll see what happens. This is just the first preseason game. But again, the coaches realize this. They recognize this. And not only that, but it's all on tape. So Jared Abbrederis making a case for himself for that number 3 spot. And also, I didn't think Ty Montgomery did poorly at all with a very fantastic snag in traffic and made a good catch. So Davante Adams is going to need to step back and take a good look inside and figure out if he wants to make this team right now, or some young guys may take his spot. So let's see what else we've got. Benjamin says Abbrederis, Cook, Crosby, Rodgers, Hyde. Oh, and how about Micah Hyde, with an interception that was reminiscent of the under the shoulder interception that he had last year. He looks like he's picking up where he left off. And this defense, Kenny Clark looked good. He got stood up a little bit against a double team, but he held his own, and he is just as violent as we thought he was going to be. LaTroy Guion looks good right now, and I do think once we shake out exactly who goes where, and the regular season comes around, I think this Packer defense is going to take off and pick up where it left off last year. Give me a thumbs up if you think it's important for the Packers defense to pick up where they left off last year. I think that is absolutely critical. If you can do that, and then you can get Jordy Nelson back, you can get Randall Cobb healthy, you can get Eddie in shape, you can bring Jared Cook to the table, you can have guys like Jared Abbrederis stepping up, and our offense begins to go back and score 30 points. Who is going to beat this Green Bay Packer team right now if we can do that? Now, I know there's a lot of football still to be played even before the regular season begins. I know we've got a tough test against the Jacksonville Jaguars and a very tough test against the Minnesota Vikings, opening their new US Bank Stadium. But seriously, this could be special if our defense picks up where they left off last year. Not only that, but if they can pick up where they left off last year and take reps off of Julius Peppers with Nick Perry. Dayton Jones looked good last night. I loved give me a heart if you love seeing Dayton Jones, I think it was, with a giant hole in his uniform. He had his uniform ripped. It was freaking fantastic, and I'm loving what I'm seeing about this defense and the attitude that they have begun to have. It's the Mike Daniels attitude that is beginning to wear off. Barrington had it, and then he was out last year, and he's going to come back, and we're going to see him do that again. Kenny Clark has already picked it up. LaTroy Guion already has it. We know we have Julius Peppers. We have Clay Matthews, who is not afraid to freaking drill somebody. This defense could be a serious player. And that's not even talking about, guys, the fact that our defensive backfield is very deep right now. Randall, Rollins, Gunter, Micah Hyde, Morgan Burnett. This could be a serious player for one of the best defenses in the league, the way it looks right now. And for crying out loud, if our offense does what it is capable of doing, which getting Jordy Nelson back in and of itself makes me think we can do, this team could be a team for the ages for the Green Bay Packers. And once again, how many teams for the ages have we had? I mean, if this team could seriously be one that is compared to the Brett Favre and Reggie White teams of old. I think that is on the horizon. Of course, we've got work to do, and of course, it's only the preseason. But guys, this Packer team could be special. Preseason game under our belt, and I'm going to be doing more and more analysis of this game coming up this week. I love what Callahan did. Again, talking about the pre-snap read, he's a smart guy, and we saw 2 plays in which Callahan's pre-snap read gave him the information he needed, and did you see how quick he was able to get the ball out? And this is no Aaron Rodgers. This is not even any Brett Hundley. This is a kid who just came onto the scene out of nowhere and is making a name for himself as a Green Bay Packer. Josh says Julius Peppers is going to kill it. He sure is. And the fact of the matter is we're going to be able to keep him more fresh because he's not going to have to be in there for so many snaps. Frankly, I think that is critical. Zach says 16-0, go Pack, go. Steven, it's been said, but we need to protect the quarterback. How beefy is the O-line? The O-line is going to be very good this year. We still have to get healthy a little bit. We didn't see Lindsley on the field. He's got to get healthy, but we are deeper. Jason Spriggs did a good job last night. Not an absolutely fantastic or dominant job, but he did a very serviceable job for a kid out on the field for his first time against NFL defensive ends. And our defensive line is very sound right now. We just have to get healthy. Don't worry about that. We're going to protect Aaron Rodgers just fine. Justin Vance says 13-3. Let's do this. That would be fantastic. Grayson says, your thoughts on last night's game? Oh, just got on? Dude, Grayson, you totally missed it. I just finished all my thoughts on last night's game. I will rehash it a little bit. Special teams coverage units, I think we had some work to do. Special teams protection, I think we had a little bit of continuity issues. We had too many people running free. There were a couple breakdowns that I could tie to single players. But again, keep in mind, Jeff Janis wasn't on the field for special teams. And in terms of special teams, Mason Crosby kicks 2 54-yard field goals. Fantastic. And Mortel gets out there and freaking knocks it out of the park. So I think we're in good shape, but we've got some work to do. Offense, I think, was great. We got out on the field. We had a third-string quarterback. We ran the ball well. Eddie Lacy looks good. No big deal. Jared Cook looks good, just like we expected. And I just want to keep these guys healthy. And, of course, job one was keeping these guys healthy, and we had no major injuries. So, knock on wood. And we've got to keep this thing going. We've got to keep this going throughout the preseason and not have any injuries. But Mike McCarthy is managing this team well. On defense, I think we saw Kyler Fackrell flash how he could rush the quarterback. He is a serious player. I thought Kenny Clark did some good things. And so basically, and I thought Martinez did some good things. He had to communicate. It looked to me like he was focusing a lot on the communication and not necessarily focusing as much on just playing the game. But that's going to come with time. So basically, that is my rundown. Zach says Jeff Janis is injured. Yes, he is. He is injured for now. We will keep you up to date on what the severity of that injury is. What happened is it looks like he broke his hand. And that could be serious. I mean, the guy's a wide receiver. He's a kick returner. This could be a serious injury for him moving forward. So we'll see, and we'll let you know what happens with that. But again, Kevin Hefner is mentioning about the missed tackles. I think we had some great sticks in this preseason game. The missed tackles will go to individuals, and that will show up on videotape. But I thought we had some great sticks. Banjo had a good stick. I'm missing the linebacker. I'm losing a name right now, but we had some good sticks. We are acting like the kind of defense that has an attitude about them. And Jason says don't sleep on Trevor Davis. Yeah, I would say that too, but the fact of the matter is there are some guys getting ready to take his spot right now. And he's going to have to step up. He had a couple good catches, but yeah, Blake Martinez doing good. Zach, that 50-yard pass by RG3, yeah, and that's the truth. Is the fact of the matter is RG3 played a good game, and we talked about this, that I'm actually kind of pulling for the guy because I don't think the Cleveland Browns are any danger to us. I don't think they're a danger to make the postseason. But RG3 did some good things, which says that our defensive backfield has work to do. TJ Lang had a great interview off the field, and he's going to be fine. It's good for him to get in there and get his feet back under him again. Carl Bradford, Ryan is mentioning Carl Bradford. He was very active, and I loved what I saw out of him. I found myself in the linebacker group going, holy crap. I mean, everybody's stepping up. It'd be easier if we saw somebody really fall off the page, but they haven't done it. The competition is getting really sound in that linebacker group, and I'm loving to see it. Well, guys, it's time for me to sign off. I'm glad to have you on this Saturday afternoon. I hope you were enjoying and reveling in the fact that Packer football is back in town, Lambeau Field, and a great win, 17-11 over the Cleveland Browns. I have yet to see, and maybe I missed it, I thought somebody out there had predicted this game pretty close. I haven't been able to find it. My prediction was pretty dang close, 21-17. I'm going to be fine with that. And I will let you guys go for this Saturday afternoon, and I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Thank you for all the interaction, the thumbs up. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you can subscribe to us, it helps us out a great deal. Or just hit the like button. I really appreciate it. Catch up with everything to do with the Green Bay Packers on GreenBayPackerNation.com. And I will catch up with you again tomorrow about game time. And geez, we're going to have more to talk about without a doubt. We'll analyze it a little bit more. Tomorrow is Sunday, which will be game day to come for many, many weeks coming up very soon. Talk to you guys later. Go Pack.